So, Namor. He's been long rumored to appear in the MCU. As early as Iron Man 2, Kevin Feige and crew have hinted at that character joining the MCU. If you remember that flick, they very clearly dotted Atlantis on a map while debriefing Tony Stark on the Avengers Initiative. Well, today, we've finally got our hands on a new potential leak, which involves the Eternals, Phase 4, and that pointy-eared Atlantean mutant, Namor. We're going to tell you what this rumor claims, how it compares to previous leaks in years past, and what could this mean for the future of the MCU. But before we get going, if you could be so kind as to lightly hit the like, and well, not lightly, but just really aggressively hit the like and subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. I'm really psyched you guys are enjoying these Marvel videos, and those subs mean a lot to me. I'd really hope to keep continuing the channel. Alright, so let me fill you in on this potential leak about Namor and the Eternals. As always, I want you guys to remember to take this with a grain of salt, or if you're coming from my Star Wars Theory channel, a grain of sand. This source has been pretty accurate in the past, having identified Skrulls as characters in Captain Marvel, and the recent news that Robert Downey Jr. is possibly returning to the MCU, which is looking more and more true every day. But they've also had a few misses. So make sure to enjoy the leak, but remember to take that dose of sodium with you, or sand. So, in the Eternals, Namor will supposedly be introduced. That film spans thousands of years, from the early rise of the Eternals as Earth's first superpowered beings to the modern heroic era of Iron Man and Captain America. Sometime in that period, the filmmakers will show the fall of Atlantis. Unlike the classic tale by Plato, which involves a fairly small island, the Marvel Comics version of Atlantis is a massive continent. Not to throw shade at Plato's little allegorical landmass, but it couldn't hold a candle next to Marvel's. In the Marvel Comics, Atlantis was a thriving nation, until it was attacked by deviant Lemuria 20,000 years ago. Deviants being the enemies of Eternals, which is the connection this Atlantis anecdote needs to fit into the Eternals flick. Now, in order to defend themselves, the king of Atlantis, named Camus, unleashed his magma defenses, which completely submerged the continent. The kingdom eroded into ruins underwater, until one day a bunch of mermaids found it. Well, not mermaids per se, but a species called Homo mermanus. They don't have any fish appendages. In fact, they look almost entirely human, except for their blue skin tone and set of gills behind each ears. Well, these sea people decided to take up the fallen Atlantis as their own, and became Marvel's modern Atlanteans. It's to this race that Namor belongs, and it's through this story, The Fall of Atlantis, that this leak claims modern Atlanteans will be introduced, and generations later, Namor. As far as ways to introduce Namor, this one really isn't half bad. In previous rumors, we heard that Namor would be introduced in the sequel to Black Panther. Scoopers claimed that he'd be the antagonist of that film, launching a war against Wakanda as revenge for some yet-to-be-decided slight against Atlantis. As much as I love the tension between King T'Challa and King Namor, and as awesome as it would be to watch the two kings go at it, I don't really think Wakanda needs to have an all-out war quite so soon after the spectacle of Infinity War. A central potential theme of that film is the destruction of the environment due to pollution, and Namor is always up in arms about human beings sullying his pristine oceans. But I also wouldn't give that one too much credence. We'll have to wait and see how this pans out, but I'm all game for Namor to pop up in Eternals. It'd be a clean way of connecting him to the greater MCU. Kevin Feige likes to keep all of these superheroes and super items connected, just like the Aether and Scepter were retconned to Infinity Stones. I could easily see Namor being reimagined as an Eternal instead of his half-mermaid, half-human, full-mutant comic book origin. So what do you guys think? Are you psyched for Namor to show up in Eternals? Would you prefer if he was in Black Panther or Thor Love and Thunder? Let me know in the comments below. Throw a like on this if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Marvel Theory. Until then, remember, with great power comes great responsibility.